was the day that would alter my family's lives forever. As I picked up my 3-year-old son from his preschool, the teacher approached me. Kerry had not been quite himself for the past week or so, and I figured that he had gotten sick at school. She told me that he had had an accident during class and that they had changed him into his spare clothes. I was relieved. I wasn't looking forward to the flu going through our family. When we got home, Kerry immediately said that he was thirsty and headed to the fridge to get some water. I asked him if he wanted milk or juice, but he said, "No, I need water," and then he drank 2 glasses of water without stopping. At this point, I decided to test his blood sugar with my tester. I realize this sounds really strange, but I am a diabetic, and I know that the symptoms of my untreated diabetes are extreme thirst, lethargic behavior, and frequent urination. I still was not particularly concerned. I was sure that he was just a healthy, thirsty little boy. I really was just testing him so that I wouldn't have to worry about it. A few seconds later, my heart sank as the blood test, which in a non-diabetic would range somewhere between 80 and 120, came back with 2 letters, HI. This meant that his blood sugar was more than the tester could read, more than 600. I tested him again with a heavy heart and confirmed that my helpless, sweet 3-year-old son's life would never be the same. There are 23 million people in the United States with diabetes. That is 8% of the total population. Only 5 to 10% of these cases are type 1 or insulin dependent. The remaining 90 to 95% are type 2. People with type 2 diabetes can often control their symptoms with dietary restrictions, pills, and exercise, due to the fact that their pancreas still produces at least a portion of the insulin their bodies need. Type 2 diabetes often occurs in adulthood and in children with obesity issues. Type 1 diabetes is much more difficult to control. With type 1 diabetes, the pancreas completely stops producing any insulin, and therefore the symptoms and complications are greatly magnified. Type 1 diabetes has been called juvenile diabetes as well as insulin-dependent diabetes. People with it will need to take insulin shots or use an insulin pump to treat their carbohydrate intake, as well as testing their blood sugar often throughout their entire lives. Some of the long-term complications of diabetes are a much higher rate of heart disease and stroke, blindness, kidney disease, and nervous system diseases, among other things. All of these risks can be limited by controlling blood sugar consistently over a lifetime through diligent testing and treatment. There's no cure for diabetes, although research is promising and advances are made on a regular basis. As a result, diabetics are simply left to treat the symptoms. This is the fate that was staring at Kerry as we prepared to go to the doctor to confirm my test. After calling and having the nurse tell me that I needed to come in as soon as the doctor returned from lunch, I made the call to my wife, Andrea, who was in a meeting in Champaign. I was hopeful to catch her or someone with their cell phone on, since I knew she would want to be there for the inevitable trip to the hospital. I got a hold of her and told her the news. Her reaction was predictable, I suppose. She said, "Are you sure that is what's wrong?" The answer, unfortunately, was, "Yes, I'm sure. They will do the same test at the doctor's office that I just did." I could hear her getting upset as I told her that Kerry was fine, playing and enjoying himself, and that everything would be okay. I was glad that she was with coworkers who could get her home safe. One more call was made to family to get help with our kids after school and our dog, and then it was off to the doctor. The doctor's visit was short. They retested Kerry's blood and confirmed that he was indeed a type 1 diabetic, and sent me home to prepare for admission to the hospital for a couple of days for education and to get Kerry's blood sugar under control. Kerry remained his smiling and silly self throughout his hospital stay. He loved all the attention, the gifts, and having Mom and Dad sleeping in the same room as him. His positive attitude and resilience throughout the ordeal of blood tests, insulin shots, etc. really served to remind us of how lucky we were. There are many worse things that we could have had to deal with, and while diabetes is a chronic disease, it is not a death sentence, and Kerry would have the opportunity to live a long and happy life. Today, Kerry is a typical, dramatic, challenging, fantastic 4-year-old who just happens to be a diabetic. He accepts his differences and challenges without complaint or hesitancy. I am blessed with 3 amazing kids and a beautiful, intelligent, and caring wife. I give thanks daily for everything that I've been given, despite the challenges that have been placed before us.